Let's bring in Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. He serves on the Armed Services Committee, along with the Intelligence and Judiciary Committees. Senator, I want to get in the Wayback Machine with you, like Sherman and Peabody. Let's go back to January 31st of this year, when the president said he had done all he could do on the border. Listen here.
I've done all I can do. Just give me the power. I've asked for the very day I got in office.
Well, it seems as though he has discovered that he can do a little more than he thought he could do. What do you think of this plan to cap asylum petitions at 2,500 persons per day? Is it feasible?
No, John, this plan is a joke. I would say it's like closing the barn door after the horses are already out, because 4 years ago, Joe Biden invited migrants from all across the third world to come to America, and if they could get here, they could stay. But it's not even closing the barn door. Joe Biden is now saying to the cartels and to potential terrorists that as long as there's not more than 75,000 illegal aliens crossing our border a month, then you're still welcome to come. The only acceptable number of illegal immigrants crossing our border at any period is 0. And conveniently, Joe Biden has just discovered the error of his ways and new powers 5 months before an election. This is not the only crisis this is designed to address is not the crisis at the border, but the crisis of Joe Biden's polling numbers versus Donald Trump, John.
So the threshold is going to be set at 2,500 persons per day. We're already at double that, so it looks like this plan could be in place permanently, even though it's supposed to be a temporary plan. But I'm wondering, once you reach that threshold, you can't stop people from coming across the border. They're going to continue to do it anyways. You can't send them back to their home countries because many of them come from places like Mauritania, Nepal, Pakistan, India, China. So what are you going to do with them except parole them into the country?
Well, that's exactly what Joe Biden has been doing for 4 years, is paroling into the country every migrant that he invited from the third world all across the globe. That's almost certainly what he will continue to do. He may even be counting on left-wing advocacy organizations to sue him and get a court to enjoin this action. He should have never invited these people to come to our country in the first place. The only proper way to come to America is through legal immigration pathways, not showing up at our border with some bogus claim of asylum or some sob story and expecting it to get into the country. That's what we had under Donald Trump, a secure border where people could only get here through legal pathways. But ever since Joe Biden took office, it has been an open border that has created chaos and unleashed crime and drugs all across America's cities and our states.
Of course, Senator, with all these people coming across the border, many of them we know nothing about, particularly when it comes to these gotaways, there is a looming national security concern. The FBI director is on Capitol Hill this afternoon. Here's what he said about the potential for problems from immigration back on April the 11th.
We've seen a rogues gallery of foreign terrorist organizations call for attacks against Americans and our allies. Increasingly concerning is the potential for a coordinated attack here in the homeland. We need funding to mitigate the range of threats from the border. Fentanyl, gangs like MS-13, human trafficking.
You know, we also had that illegal immigrant from Venezuela who's now accused of shooting two New York City police officers over the weekend. And when we put up on the screen the number of people who have crossed the border illegally, the total is 7,813,351. To you, Senator, what kind of national security risk does that represent?
Well, it's a grave, rolling daily crisis for all Americans. As you say, putting aside national security concerns, you have the crime that these illegal migrants have unleashed in our streets, murdering women, attacking police officers, in addition to the toll it takes on communities and public services like schools and hospitals. But it is, in addition to those dangers, also a national security threat. We know that there have been dozens of migrants on the terrorist watch list who have been apprehended. But if those are the ones we caught, how many of them got across the border without any effort to apprehend them at all? And what are they trying to do in this country? It only takes a handful of savage terrorists to unleash a mass terrorist attack on this country. Joe Biden has stuck his head in the sand for 4 years. Part of the reason he's issuing this order today, I suspect, is to get ahead of any potential terrorist attack against American citizens over the next 5 months if it happens as a result of his open border. That's why we have to close the border immediately. That's what we had when President Trump was in office. That's what we will have when he's back in office.
Senator Tom Cotton of the great state of Arkansas for us. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.